Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cone Racing. Round number 11, and we have made the short trip from the Ardennes Forest in Belgium, what was last week's Spa-Francorchamps Grand Prix, over to the North Sea coast here in the Netherlands, in what is a very, very damp looking track here on the sandy dunes. Definitely no sand castles tonight, but there could be fireworks, there could be drama, and there could be a champion, of course. MKP, last week's winner, in the lead of this title by 35 points, 31 available tonight, 62 across the whole season. He could seal it, but we'll get on to that later on. I am your host, CRL Freefall, back once again, like the Renegade Master. And joining me once again tonight, he was a little bit shy last week, a little bit quiet, and he had to disappear for a drink at some point, but he's back in the booth. It's Mr. Harry Palmer. How are you doing tonight, mate? Spot on. I'm looking forward to what should be a very interesting race here, of course. The second to last race of this season, Harry. We have got, I believe, mathematically 4 drivers in with a shot at the title, those being MKP, the odds-on favourite, 35 ahead. Wee Kami chasing the pack, so essentially, folks, if Wee Kami does not outscore MKP by 4 points tonight, MKP is provisionally champion. Of course, Curly and Cavolis could have a little say in that, but these are the two we're going to be watching. It is going to be a little bit fireworks. Maybe we'll wait and see. The Haas and the Mercedes driver, of course, sharing the top spots last week, and it was advantage MKP in Belgium. Wee Kami picking up that silver spot, and Tomo Tip Top, a very solid and quiet race, saw the Alpine driver come home in P3. The other championship contenders of Curly and Cavolis, 6th and 7th, taking a little bit of a dent, 20-ish points there, falling behind, and that puts their gap 51 and 55 points respectively. Speaking of one of them championship contenders here, Harry, are you ready to take us through a lap? Because Wee Kami is currently coming through the first sector of this 4.2 kilometre long circuit. There's 14 turns here, of course, Harry, one of them being turn number 3, and you're going to hear some lovely Dutch Scottish lingo tonight, mate.
Lovely, good to know. I have also realised I've done it again 2 weeks in a row. I've had my mic off.
At least you caught it a little bit earlier this week. Yeah. I think they can hear you now.
Yeah, they should be able to. They should be able to anyway.
Right, to be fair, you haven't said too much up until yet, so we haven't missed too much of your brilliant, lovely voice. We're going through box number 9 here, Harry. Now, box is Dutch for turn, and there's a lot of box around this corner. That was actually box number 10. I can't read the map. Then we're going into the Hans Ernst box, which, believe it or not, is the Hans Ernst corner. Before we have Kumberkocht, which is, I believe it's quite a high bank, and it's at like 18 degrees or something here, coming around turn number 14. The Addy blocked. Try and say that 5 times fast, and we cam it up to the line, a 1:18.9. Of course, intermediate conditions here, Harry. I'm not too sure what lap times we're expecting. Dry, probably a 1:09. Intermediates, not a clue, but there's our first indication, an 18.9 for Kami.
I'll be honest, I've not done some laps around the Netherlands for quite some time. I don't think I've actually done a race in the wet around here, so I like you, I have no clue what to expect. And I'm not even going to attempt to name corners, because I will botch it that hard that I'll end up saying something either really inappropriate or just not good for YouTube. So I think it's better that I stay off the corner names for tonight.
There is quite a few interesting corner names, of course. Turn 1 is Tarzan Bocht, Tarzan Corner. I believe that is to do with when they're constructing the circuit. I do remember this from the last time I did comms here. There was an old fella that looked a bit like Tarzan that wouldn't sell his house, so they named it the Tarzan Corner. Gerlach Bocht, number 2, and then Huggenholtz Bocht at turn number 3. Hunsrug, that's a little bit different, turn number 4, before we have Slotmacher Bocht for 6. Skibelak for 7, Master Bock at 8, Bock 9 and Bock 10, they're a bit easier, and then the Hans Ernst Bock, which is where we see Harvey 0502 91. I wonder if that was his date of birth. Answers on a postcard with that, 11 and 12. Then we've already seen the Kumbock Bock, the Kumho Bock, something like that, and then we've got the Irie Ludnil, I can't even say that Bock, but Cavolis has went through some of the box very fast here, Harry, and done an 18.6, Harvey a 19.7. lap times flying in this qualifying session. And Cavalis, Kami and Curley, the three title contenders looking to take it to MKP, who I'm jumping on board to finish his lap. They're up there. MKP does reply with an 18.8. And our top four in the championship, top four in this qualifying session, just not necessarily in the same order.
Yeah, I think it's all the championship contenders, all in the top four. You've got Cavalis, MKP, Kami and Curly. As we Ravi splits them, just as I'm talking about that. I can't change camera. My game is broken, so I can't see anything. But from just looking at the standings, all four in the top 7 now. So it's looking closer than last week anyway.
Definitely, yeah. There was MKP and Kami kind of taken off into the distance a little bit, as you have been disconnected from the session. We'll hopefully try and get you back in kind of sharp as Pancake, MKP's teammate, up into P11 with a 19.676. Solfair going top in the Alfa Romeo, the ERO driver, and a fairly new addition to the Cone Racing League, but a well-known member amongst some of the community, definitely. Murphy up there in P2. He's had some very strong pace. We saw him very good in qualifying last week, and it just sort of fell away from him during the race. A little bit of an incident with, I believe it was the Haas of it was the Haas reserve, and the Jenkins, it was having a bit of an incident there that kind of cost his race a little bit. I don't think he's on a flyer here. No, he is not. We're going to jump on board with the man who the Haas he had the incident with last week replaced. It is, of course, Duncan, coming through one of many quite sharp, quite tricky traction zones on the exit of Bank Corners. That was turn number 4, of course. And then through this sort of, like a mini mild version of an S's section, it is Harry at the end of the first sector. There's a little bit of a left, a little bit of a right, and a back to the left before the double downhill right-hander, and then it's all right-handers for the next part of the track, 8 and then number 9. A couple of lines you can take through here. Some guys will like to swing it out wide and exit, cut back across and try and use most of the track. Some will try and keep it a bit tighter and just straight line it, minimise the actual distance on track. It's whatever works for you. We'll see different lines and probably both of those lines during the race, and hopefully a little bit of side-by-side action through there into 12 and 11 and 12, as it should be towards the end of the second sector, start of the third sector, and then this double right-hander at the end, the big famous Banking Corners. You can see the London Eye in the background. Maybe not the London Eye, it's a little bit too far away, but it's something big. And he goes with a 19.160. MKP though, putting his car on MK pole with an 18.1. Solid lap from the Scotsman, and he's looking to finish this tonight.
I can't lie, I'm still having issues getting back in. I just can't get back onto the game. So you'll have to do comms for a few minutes without me.
Well, bear with us, folks. At least we still have a feed. It's not been a full crash. It did see you rejoin, so hopefully we can get Harry back in. Speaking of back in, Murphy's back in action, baby. An 18.027 for the old man of the division. He's really shown some great one-lap pace, it must be said. Currently finds himself in P6 in the championship, only 78 points off. So in theory, he could finish within 16 points of the title winner. It's a very extravagant theory, it must be said, because it needs a lot of things to go his way, but it makes you wonder, when are we going to see this Murphy title challenge? It's been coming for years. It says you're back in the session. How are we getting on, Harry? Is it looking good this time?
Black screen again.
Black screen again, oh dear. We'll keep trying, folks. Worst case scenario, you might just be stuck with me tonight. Kami up to the line, 1.5 seconds off his previous best lap. Of course, intermediate conditions here, folks. We're normally used to seeing, or in a general dry weekend, the cars are out there on the softs. Those red striped softs are very malleable, very quick, and very easy to heat tire. But at the expense of they drop off very quick. 1 or 2 flying laps, you're absolutely killing any pace, and you're never going to match the times. These intermediate tyres are a little bit different. Probably the first lap, actually, is all about warming the tyre up, about finding your limits, just pushing it a little bit, getting a banker in, and then once it's warm, once you're ready, once you're feeling a bit more confident, then you start to push. Harry has left the comms books. We'll see if he does return. He's maybe doing a full system reset and see if he can get back in. We're on board with Cammy though, the championship contender, the challenger to MKP's throne here in Zandvoort, and he is 8 tenths up on his time. Now that would put him just within reach of snatching P2 away from MKP. A 10th round this final sector, however, is all it's going to take to put himself on pole. The way these lap times are ramping up as well, folks, it looks as if maybe we're starting to get a bit of a drier line for him. The rain isn't heavy here, so it is certainly possible that track conditions are improving, or maybe these drivers are just getting that little bit more comfortable. MKP up to the line, actually lost time in that final sector, and 18.43 is all he can manage. Harry back in the comms booth. We'll see if we can get him back into the lobby. In the meantime, Harvey looks to be on a little bit of a lap here. The newly instated Ferrari driver after Phantom Nug, who was well up in the challenge and scoring some good points, having to step aside for personal reasons. Harvey, though, 24 points in the short few appearances we've seen him so far, and currently finds himself in P12 at the moment in this qualifying session. We'll see how he rounds off towards the end of this second sector. Of course, 2 DRS detection zones and 2 DRS straights on this circuit. We may see them come into play later on as Harvey runs a little bit wide through turn number 8. He still might have a little bit of time in the tank here, however, and the thing is, like I've said with these inters, you can push a bit more. AFL has retired in the wall, Victor Mean and Duncan also retired. I didn't actually quite catch them when and where they were, but Harvey, even with that running wide at turn number 8, has found half a second on this lap. That's enough to put him right up in the mix for P5 and maybe a little bit above. Can he sneak Cammy? Could he sneak Solve? And if he had got turn 8 right, could he sneak up for pole? We'll wait and see, because there's still 6 minutes in this session and anything could happen. Harvey up to the line though, and it is an 18.386. Curley sitting in the pits with a set of softs. I think that might be a bit of an interesting early call. Topher up to the line, it is a 33.6. There's a little bit of a mistake in that lap somewhere, just getting prepped to go again. We'll see what Topher can do. Of course, I believe he is the driver back on the pad after a long time on the wheel. And I'm getting a notification there, Harry. Are you back in the session, mate?
I'm still unsure.
Oh,
I have no
dear.
clue what's going on tonight. Nothing's working. Absolutely nothing.
To let you into a little bit of context, moments before we started the stream, Harry had realised he had a download on, and we thought that was the reason that he had the infamous Megatron voice. Maybe some more higher power beings at work here, mate. Answers on a postcard. Hopefully you get it sorted. Wuban, in the meantime, has done a lap time in the Aston Martin, up to P4 with an 18.3. I'm keeping an eye on the end of his first sector here. He isn't going to go again on this lap. Murphy looks to have just started a lap time. I want to get aboard with the one lap specialist of the season. If you manage to get in all right, Harry, just give me the classic tier 2 code word of lasagna, and that lets me know that you're a-okay. Just drop it in any point, just shout it from the top of your lungs as Murphy comes through this first sector, and it's 81 thousandths up on his best time. That would put him down into the 117s, and a tenth or two through the middle of this lap, he could be looking very, very tasty and very, very, maybe not secure, but was another driver getting a bit loose on turn 8. Warrior Huntsman has retired in the pits. Has Murphy lost anything he's gained with that little bit of a stepping out of the rear? And crucially, my other question, is Curley going to come out on those softs? He's lost 1.7 seconds. Go again and try again for Mr. Murphy. The rest of the top runners, MKP, he's just coming out of the pits. We'll catch him later on. Zolf, Wuban, Cavolis, all in the pits. Cami as well, NP7 in the pits. Also, they're trying to leave it as late as possible. Mighty Baguette, let's give some love to our favourite Frenchman. Dewell might like to contest that fact. We'll wait and see. Duncan seems to be having a few issues leaving and rejoining, so maybe some behind the scenes issues. I'm just going to pause for a minute, folks. Hopefully, if Harry is back in the session, he can take over very quickly, because I do need to blow my nose before I stop to sneeze.
I wish I was back in the session, but I'm not. I'm stuck on a black screen. So I have the stream up with fucking after Scott's gone. Anyway, I have the stream up so I can somewhat see what's going on. But it's about 8 seconds behind since put the comments in.
I can tell you for a fact there, mate. We heard about half of that. you did
Ah,
you did go very, very electronic, I think is the apt term to
1
describe how you're.
second.
Oh, I wonder what's happening in the Palmer household tonight. It seems to be very, very busy, but there seems to be at
Okay,
least some electronic issues going on.
are we back?
I think you sound a bit better now, yes.
Okay, so it's not just me. Duncan's got the same issue.
Right, so it might be either a PSN issue or just a random server issue, or maybe even a service provider issue. Answers on a postcard.
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
try and restart my internet.
Do the full restart. I'll hold the fort in the meantime, mate. Hopefully we can get you in. Hopefully we can get Duncan in and everything up and running in time for the race. 2 minutes 15 before the qualifying session ends. We've been on board with wee Ravi for a little bit. I'm going to jump away quickly and see how Pancake's doing. He's 16 seconds away from his time and he doesn't have a front wing, so I think we'll go elsewhere. MKP on a flying lap. These are the laps that I should be watching. Harvey also on one. In fact, I'm going to jump quickly to him as he rounds that final corner. It says he's 21 seconds away from his best time. Yes, he is. That's a 140 in the works. MKP, though, looking at doing a 17.7 here. Coming round turn number 12. The short little run down to 13. In the dry could give maybe a sneaky and opportunistic overtaking opportunity for some brave drivers. We'll wait and see if that does materialise here. MKP up to the line, going through the little bits of winglets, and does take pole with a 17.339. Almost 7 tenths clear of Murphy, who has retired in the pits. Does Harvey have an answer? And crucially, does Cami Cavolis or Curley have an answer? Curley on an outlap on the softs. That is a brave choice for his championship credential looking driver, if you know what I mean by that, because I'm not even sure I do. Wee Rabi, meanwhile, was up to the line with a 17.632. 3 tenths off the pole sitter. Harvey only improving by 2 tenths on this lap, so maybe slightly off the pace here, unless he's got a mighty fine final sector on his hands. Harry disappearing once again from the comms box. We'll see if we'll see if he returns this evening. If not, well, you're just stuck with me. Harvey up the line. It is a 17.635, 3 thousandths off the rear of Wee Rabbit in that McLaren. Solf finishing his lap also, I believe, or maybe just starting it. We'll come back to him in a bit, but the next up the line is going to be CRL Wuban, and that won't be an improvement on this specific lap. I'm surprised that wasn't an invalidation, to be honest. You must just be able to get away with using them curbs ever so slightly. He does have wee Cammy coming behind him. Hopefully for Cammy's sake he hasn't started this lap too close to the rear of the Aston Martin, because the Aston Martin is on a flyer, which he looks to maybe be. This could be controversial. We'll come back and check on that. We've got an Alpine coming up to the line. That is, it's not Topher. Who was that? That was Tomo Tip Top. Goes Tomo Tip P9 with a 118.5. McLaren up next into the pits. Then it's going to be an Alpha Tauri of Ghost Angel 1, who has finished their session, didn't get to the line in time. So next up it's going to be Topher. He is currently on course to improve ever so slightly, and it is by 1.3 seconds. It's not ever so slightly, it's enough to jump up into P5. He'll be beaming ear to ear with that lap time. ERL Zorf up to the line and 17.385, 5 tenths, or 500, sorry, off the top position. And here's a lap we're paying all attention to. Cavolis, championship contender, can only go P5, 17.771 for him. One of the Ferraris coming, it is Harvey into the pits, the sister Ferrari. Curley, I haven't paid attention to this lap, and I think it's within good reason. Those softs were not the choice, my friend, and yes, he's going to have maybe 3 or 4 ready for the race, but a bit of wastage in that. Cammy has invalidated his lap time as well. I don't know what happened with Wuban. He is retired. When did that happen? We missed that, but that is going to be qualifying. It is all and done. MKP takes the first step towards putting the title to bed tonight. He takes pole His nearest championship rival down in 10th, and the other two down in 5th and 12th, Cavalis and Curley. It's Sulf and wee Ravi lining up behind him on the provisional qualifying podium, with Harvey in that P4 spot. Cavalis, like we said, in P5. Murphy doing an early lap time, finishes up in P6 ahead of Topher. A very, very good lap time from Topher on the comeback on the pad, with Wuban rounding off P8. Might Baguette and Cami rounding off that top 10, and we'll get the full rundown for the second half of the field before the start of this race. But Harry, you're back in the comms booth, mate. I don't know if you've seen much of the qualifying. I don't know if you can see anything at all. Can you even hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my friend.
Okay, well, I'm back in the comms box, but I can't see anything.
So it's right. So it might be a lobby glitch that's affecting you yourself.
Yeah, I know that Duncan had the same issue, so I'm hoping even the qualifying results haven't loaded. So
Interesting.
you might have to do comms on your own at this rate.
It might be a solo job at this rate. I'll do the solo job of rounding off the qualifying results then. We've seen the top 10. We can't rounding that off, of course. Tomo Tip Top, Curly, Duncan, Pancake, Ghost Angel 1 and Spider rounding off down to 16, setting the lap times. Warrior Huntsman, Victorine and AFL rounding off the 19 drivers we have here tonight. Those last three not setting a time to DNF. Hopefully when we get the load through into the race, we'll get a little bit of cool comms action from Mr. Harry Palmer. But in the meantime, let's have a little look at the track itself. 2 DRS detection zones, 2 DRS wing zones, I suppose you could call them. Activation zones is probably a more apt term. Sector 1, very tight and twisty. Overtaking zones into turn 1, of course, if you can lunge down the inside and be a bit brave. It's going to be tricky on the outside, and you've got to watch you don't get forced out too wide onto the gravel trap. 2 and 3, again, opportunistic. They are tight. They are a little bit banked at 3 and definitely capable of being a move sent up the inside there. 4, 5 and 6, well, that's a little S section, of course, through the end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2. You never know, a bit of side-by-side action there. It's not out of the equation. Downhill right-hander then off turn 7 at the start of Sector 2. Yeah, don't think we'll see too much action there. But then 8, 9, 10 and 11. 4 decent opportunities for overtaking, particularly into 11, the end of that second DRS straight, before the near enough 90-degree right-hander of that start of the final sector. 13, between 12 and 13, sorry, anyway, a slight chance of making a move if you get a good exit in 12 or somebody makes a mistake. And, well, bit of NASCAR action round 14, the back corner. We'll wait and see if that materialises. Might be get there, leaving the session. I know we had a bit of connection issue in Tier 1 last week. I wonder if there's maybe some ongoing Codemasters or F1 server issues. Tier 3 seems to be unaffected. Tier 2 was unaffected at Spa last week. But it looks like there's something going on here tonight, maybe. And potentially something going on last Thursday in Tier 1. Harry's left the session again. Might Baguette has rejoined. It is a sort of merry-go-round of who's in this lobby. At this rate, I might even get a drive, because it might just fire me in a car, who knows. We'll wait and see. I'm currently looking at the pit lane, Harry, as the drivers are selecting their fuel and tyre strategy. So hopefully, I'm praying with the reload of the session, with the switching from quali to race, any drivers that are maybe locked out at the moment, and of course yourself, can get back in this lobby. I suppose in the meantime, you see, of course, you haven't done much running around here, Sandford. Have you done any races at all this game around this circuit, or is it going to be a clean slate for you in first day as well?
I think I did one race. And that one race ended in me turn 1 backwards out. So I don't think I'm someone to exactly talk about how to get through turn 1 probably, but we'll find a way.
We'll see how it goes. It's I believe I can't off the top of my head think of doing a race around here at this game cycle. And it might have been one they sort of all just meld in together at this point of the year. And you can't really, pardon me, you can't really kind of put rhyme or reason on any of them. It's an interesting track. It gives a nice variety of lasagna. I think he's back. That was very smooth in with the code word. So yeah, it does give a nice variety of tyre strategies. The medium hard, hard medium. Some people will opt to maybe go for a medium soft or even a soft medium. And as a result, Harry, we've seen all three tyre compounds on this grid here tonight. Wee Ravi, Mighty Baguette, and the Ghost Angel 1. The two Alpha Tauris both opted in for that soft. And then Victor Mean and AFL going for the hards at the back of the grid. There's predicted strategies going from the game, a soft medium or a medium hard. So most of the grid on the mediums, but 5 outliers out of the 19. And judging by the noise of that lasagna cooking in the oven, it seems as if my co-commentator is back, folks.
I am. After a lot of restarting, it kicked me out of at the end of quali, so I had to leave and rejoin again. But I think we're in. I think there's 2 or 3 drivers that aren't in control for the start, which is unfortunate. And obviously they can't do anything, but they've got to wait till the restart to take control of the car. So there might be a few cars dropping back off the start, and that might cause a few issues, especially towards the back of the field.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how that'll work up. Will it be full AI or will there be a bit of ghosting? It's I don't know. It's an iffy one because sometimes the game will ghost a disconnected car in that sense, and then other times you think it'll disconnect the car and you get up to it, it goes solid, and suddenly you're trying to back out of a move that you never really intended to be on. So hopefully it doesn't cause any carnage. Spider, I appreciate the attempt to get a nice right angle in the pit box, but it's obviously going to disqualify you with that. But for the second last time this season, Harry, we're going to have 5 red lights here in Tier 4. Lights out, and away they go for the Dutch Grand Prix. MKP leading them away. Solf on the left-hand side of your screen is going to get the inside down into turn 1. He makes the move stick. The Ferrari of Harvey going down the inside of wee Rabi as they all come through. Turn 2, this is where it gets tight, twisty and technical. The front runners all through. Harvey battling it out once again with wee Rabi. Wee Rabi down the inside. Murphy going down on Cavolis. And wee Cami has made a lightning start up from 10th into P7. There's a few bit of dropping down through the pack. Might be get one of them, maybe one of those ghost cars we've seen disconnecting and not being in control as the 2 Alpines, 9th and 10th, swap and change through turn 7 and 8, and Topher getting forced off a little bit there by his teammate. He'll feel a pretty hard done by, but is still in P12, is still in this race. And thank for the most part, Harry, we are through incident free and hopefully damage free.
Yeah, it was surprisingly quite a clean start for this track. I said the same at Spa, but this track, the walls are a lot closer in some parts. As I think I've just seen rain, as there's a bit of a crash towards the back in turn 10, I believe. I don't have the car names on hand. As I said though, there would be quite an issue with Mighty Baguette rejoining. I'm not sure if he's got control of his car yet. I don't think he has. So he's having a few issues. At the back of the field, dropped 10 positions, which is unfortunate, but I think there's a bit of squabbling going on at the back as well. Ghost Angel 1 gets a penalty for leaving the track and gaining a position, I believe.
That's a really strange one to get it in the final sector, because the only corner you can really cut is 11 and 12, that tight, right hand or left hander. Wuban's had a bit of a spin. I believe Rob is into the pits for, I'm assuming, a wing change and a tyre change. So I'm not too sure how Ghost Angel 1 has ended up with a 5-second time penalty, and Rob also, or CRL Spider I should say, getting involved in some sort of first lap incident, having to have a bit of a wing change or a tyre change. Maybe it's just pure strategy. Who knows? We'll wait and see as the race progresses. Ghost Angel 1 going wide through turn at number 9, judging by the map. That's brought out some yellow flags, which I think can be a little bit glitchy on this circuit at times. Doesn't bring out the safety car on it necessarily, however. But we are coming round to the end of lap 2 of 36 of this race. The front 5 well clear of the rest of the field, it must be said. Kami 1.4 seconds behind, and he's got a couple of cars following suit pretty close behind. DRS now enabled on this lap, of course, Harry. And as things stand, MKP doing enough. Lost 2 positions, but holding out in P3. Crucially, he's beaten wee Kami, he's beaten Curly, and he's beaten Cavolis. They will be his aim for tonight. The rest of those 3 score as many points as they can and hope they can beat MKP. And everybody else squabbling for the mid-pack and the lower pack on this grid. And at the end of the day, here to enjoy what is hopefully a good night's race. Harvey on the back of MKP though, Harry.
Yeah, if I was Cami, Curly and Cavalis, of course, I'd be quite happy. All three of them have gained positions off the start. MKP's unfortunately lost two, but he's still ahead, which I think at this point any position he gets ahead, and he's more of just another buffer. The incident back onto lap 1 at turn 11, just got pushed a bit wide, and I don't think he could do anything. I just saw a few cars off, but I think Rob Spider would have been caught in that a little bit. I think that pit was for damage, just based on the gaps he's got to the car ahead, which is unfortunate, but you never know. Safety cars are a thing, and yeah, hope he can get back towards the front of the field.
The thing is, as well, of course, like you say, safety cars are a thing. He can now run deep with those hards and maybe stretch out if there is a bit of rain in there. It is pretty grey around here, it must be said. So that could be on the cards. Might be get into the pits and speeds into the pits, picks up a 5-second penalty for his troubles as well. Murphy is very close to the rear of Harvey as Might Begate has retired in the pits. I wonder if that is maybe their ongoing connection issues or something happening under the connection issues, just spoiling his appetite for the race tonight. Not something we like to see here at the start of lap 4. It is a long race ahead and anything can happen. Murphy caught in the corner a bit too tight, trying to take too much of the apex there and losing almost 6 tenths to Harvey in front. The front two, though, disappearing a little bit into the distance, of course. Solf, a very quick driver we have seen in the past. Wee Ravi on those softs, well, tyre compound softer and a little bit of pace that the Scotsman's been showing recently. It's always going to be a lethal combination, and he does fly past Solf. I didn't even see that coming, it came that quick. With the help of the DRS. Harvey closing up to MKP, but not enough to make a move. Yellow flags further back, that is for nothing. I told you it's a little bit glitchy. It's a bit like Suzuka here with the flags for anybody that knows that. But the crucial battle and the big battle at the moment here, Harry, Cavolis in P6 getting hunted and hounded by Cami in P7. Two championship contenders, both trying to score maximum points, both currently in a bit of a squabble here.
Yeah, you've took the words out of my mouth there a little bit, Scott. To be fighting this close, both fighting for the championship is with 2 races to go as well, is quite crazy. You know, MKP still at the top. He's not getting any positions back, but I think there might be a tyre difference if I'm right in saying. Yeah, so Wee Rabbi's up front on the softs, which will start to die obviously a lot sooner than the medium, but he's keeping a good distance. MKP's only 6 tenths off of Iaro Dolph, which is a bit of a train farm in there, and towards the back of the grid as well, AFL getting caught up with Victor Mean. I think Victor Mean just got past him. Yeah, there's some nice battling going on throughout the field, and I think from now it's just about keeping it clean until, you know, towards the end of the race. But the DRS is looking very powerful, especially down the straights, just generally looking around the track. I think every time I've seen DRS in use, it's caused an overtake.
Yeah, it really does tighten up that pack. And just with turn 1 and turn 10, I believe it is, or turn 11, sorry, being very, very prime overtaking spots, as Cami going side by side with Tomo Tip Top. Here comes Curly onto the back, but that little bit of squabble costing him 1.5 seconds. Those two DRS zones in a very critical part of the circuit allow for that overspeed and that momentum swing just to catch the car in front. Of course, that only really works if the car in front doesn't have DRS. And MKP has managed to do that to Murphy and Harvey behind, who are now getting caught up with Cavolis and Cami. It's been crucial. He's broke that 1.7 gap. Of course, 1 second within the car at the detection points, you get the DRS. He's done that, and that's given him a little bit of leeway. But Murphy, it must be said, he's looking very quick through that middle sector, catching up, particularly at turns 11 and 12. He's looking very, very fast as the front three are squabbling and sliding from side to side. MKP using that DRS to get past Solf, and Wee Rabbi 11 with the softs just to get a better exit off the final corner and hold it even without the DRS. And crucially, that's allowed the cars behind to now link up again and form this train all the way down to Cavolis in P6. Cami isn't far off that. Curly isn't far off that, and as a result, Duncan isn't far off that. We could see this top 9 here, Harry, really bunch up. Tomo Tip Top into the pit lane for a set of hards. I'm not sure if that's damage related or just purely strategic masterclass from Tomo, looking to come back at the end of this race. Murphy having a little half look up the inside of Solf, who's must have made a few mistakes here, because the gap now 2.3 seconds to MKP in front, and he'll be a sitting duck by the way that Murphy's been pouncing through at this second and third sector. They'll go down the inside of turn 11. Where's Cold Paradox when you need the sitting duck song, eh, Harry?
Yeah, that
it's a big contact between Harvey and Solve. Harvey trying to go down the inside of turn 12. Solve cutting across, maybe losing under traction. Swings across to the left, connects with the front of the Ferrari, and that is the first safety car. Sorry, Harry.
It's fine. I weren't actually watching the screen at that point. I was trying to sort the Discord out. But yeah, you do need Cold Paradox sometimes. It's very entertaining. And I don't think many people have seen the clips, but yeah, it's he's the entertainer of Tier 2.
He definitely is. Meanwhile, we've had a flurry of cars into the pits. Everybody in the front 12 into the pits. Warrior Huntsman staying out on those 7-lap-old mediums. He is going to come out, I believe, in P3. This could be brilliant for MKP. The little bit of extra life he's going to have, and he's got 2 cars, of course, on those older tyres. AFL also staying out. And a bold mix of strategies here, Harry. Wee Ravi, of course, on the softs. He's opted for a set of mediums. Is he expecting rain to come in towards the end of the race, or is he just banking on it being a 2-stop with another safety car? The hards likely going to be able to easily make it to the end. That's, of course, MKP, Murphy, Cabolas, Curley, Topher, Wuban, and Harvey further down the pack. And then 4 little outliers, it could be said. Cammy, Pancake, Duncan, and Tomo Tip Top. Maybe rolling the dice. Now, I have seen tyres been stretched a little bit around this circuit, Harry. But this could be the catalyst that Cammy maybe needs in his race. He's going to have hard tyres and some older hard tyres and older medium tyres ahead of him. And he's in fresh softs. This is where the old saying goes, anything can happen in racing, and it always does. And the other one, of course, Harry, my favourite, safety cars breed safety cars.
Well, I think we saw all this at Spa last week. Anything can happen. The rain, I think we both got doubted when we saw drivers coming in onto inters and wets before it even. No, was it inters on dries or dries in the wet? Either way,
it was the dries into the inters. Yes, it was the recreation of the hedgehog moment from seasons gone past.
Well, yeah. See, like you said, anything can happen. I don't think it's anything but impossible. Who this will help massively is CRL Spider. He's in turn 8, I believe, but he will catch up. He's got 2 laps now to do so. As you are a head admin though, I do have one question for you. You should know the rules very well. Under safety car, are you allowed to overtake on pit entry?
Oh! Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Defeats the point of what I was going to say. Well then, I've been confused about that one for quite a while. I know you can do it in the green flag conditions, but I weren't sure about safety car because it's still on the track. So
my understanding, that is like a 90% yes. The last time I had any dealings with an incident like that, it was a yes, and it was a brilliant piece of move from Chris Panda back in season 5, I believe it was, at Hungary, and then 2 seasons later he tried to do it again, this time on me, and I was a bit more aware than the driver previously. My understanding is it is legal. It's obviously risky, but legal. So I'm curious, Harry, who did it? Who pulled off the absolute masterclass? And please send me the clip.
They're in an Alfa Romeo, so I think there's only one left in the race, and I think you can probably guess who that one is. Victor Me going into the pits. It was very obvious that I think it was on Tomo. It was one of the Alpines going quite slow on pit entry, and I think Victor Means giving into his Seb Vettel ideas and overtaken on pit entry, which is fair enough, and safety car in this lap, so I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, it's a very quick one. I thought it was maybe going to do another lap here, but the pack is reformed. Rob back on the end of the pack. Chance for him, a bit of redemption. Wee Rabbi takes the pack away, and boy oh boy has he caught MKP. Not just sleeping, absolutely zonking. MKP 1.1 seconds adrift already. He's got Warrior Huntsman hanging about the back of him like a bad smell further down round at the pack. Wee Cammy is making his charge up on the softs already, getting Cully. We've got a retirement at turn 1. That is CRL Pancake. I almost said a retirement because I was trying to say a Pancake retirement. Safety car back out. Safety car breeds safety car. Let's do it all again, folks.
Well, I just saw Pancake backwards, well, sideways at turn 1 on the inside, so I think he might have been tapped into the wall slightly. Interestingly though, on the restart, the safety car didn't wait for CRL Spider to catch back up. I noticed he was about a second or two off the cars behind, but now there's another safety car, so he's got more of a chance to overtake again.
I think it was just in the pack. It was maybe just it can be a bit tricky. Like, I think if you're within like the last, it's weird. We all know it's weird. It's a shame for wee Rabbi. He got an absolute lightning stop there on MKP, and I'm quite interested to see. Ghost Angel 1 surely pits. He's got that 5 second. He's a 9-lap-old soft, so I'd expect him into the pits now. He was maybe rolling a bit of a gamble. I'm not too sure how he was expecting it to play off. Maybe going into the late teens in the soft potentially, and then going mediums in 20 laps. I've seen that sort of strategy play off around here. But Warrior Huntsman and AFL, are they into the pits? No, they are not. Cavalis, though, this is a big call from the Red Bull driver, and he's opting for a set of yellow stripe mediums and also a front wing change, so maybe that was a real call to action for him there. Ghost Angel 1 is either listening or is thinking along the same lines I'm thinking, into the pits. And interestingly, another set of red stripe softs going on here, Harry. It's an interesting call. Now, I would have saved them for later on in the race and put a set of mediums on if I was him. However, these are unorthodox strategies. They can work, they can play out. The only thing to remember is, unless he pit very, very early, Harry, which I'm not too sure he did, he will have to use a second compound of tyre. We'll see how the veteran driver from Germany plays that off. But, like you said, the pack is going to reform up quite quick. We've now got our championship contenders in 2, 6, 7 and 15. However, this is the first full lap under the safety car for the second time, so we're going to do another one. It'll be lap 13 at the end of 12 before we get racing, mate, unfortunately. But at this stage of the Grand Prix, who do you think is going to be the happiest out of MKP, Kami and Curly, I suppose? Cavalis, he's in 15th. I don't think he's going to be too happy with that, but he has got fresher tyres and potentially could stretch him to the end. But out of them front three, because they're in very different positions and very different strategies.
I have to say MKP. He's in second, right behind another driver on not so fresh tyres anymore. And he's got a nice comfortable gap behind him to wee Cammy, which is the next person on track to the championship. Cammy's in P6, so he's got, 3 cars between to use as a barricade. I can't think of another word. So yeah, I think MKP is going to be very happy with his position so far. He's played his cards right, and yeah, overall I think he's doing quite. I know it's on lap 12 and there's been 2 safety cars, but he's chosen the right strategy safety car wise, kept himself at the front of the field, so I don't see why he couldn't be happy. Interestingly though, a bit of inside information from one of the drivers. The rain was supposed to be coming, and now it's on and off, so we could see a bit of a mix-up with conditions around the track at points in this race.
So that explains the rush of the softs. That explains Ghost Angel 1's double soft strategy. That explains Kami gambling on the softs. Now that puts a spanner in the works. Position-wise, I would have said the happiest is Kami. Purely and simple, yes, MKP is 4 positions ahead. However, Kami, expecting, let's say, we're going to expect another safety car potentially. He is going to pit again. Those softs are not going to make it to the end. And with that rain as well, it maybe adds it on even more, because if that rain comes soon, those softs are going to grip in a bit better. And if another safety car comes, they're both going to have the pit, and Kami's got a chance now to use the softer tyres. It's interesting as well, you see the 4-lap mediums are a bit older, considering we've done half a lap or 1 sector of green flag racing on them. I would still class them as new, but we'll not get pedantic here, mate. Wee Ravi then is going to take us through the second race restart, the 4th green flag of the, or not the third green flag, but the third racing green flag, it must be said, of the race. And for the second time in a row, he's caught MK napping. And 8 10. That was my worst fighting out with Cammy, who's absolutely sent them. And he's went from 6th to 4th in the space of one corner, fresh softs. Warrior Huntsman getting a bit loose in the exit of 2. And what was about that rolling roadblock, that little bit of a gap, as Solf has left the session and somehow retired. And oh, that is horrible for Solf. That is a glitch in the game where there's a disconnection and the game automatically DSQs you. It's a weird one that's put him 18th between Pancake and Mighty Baguette. That's a strange one.
Zoff retired a while ago.
Did he? Oh, did he just leave the cells?
Oh, so he
did! Oh, it just came up saying he'd left the station. That's what it was.
Glitched.
Oh, that's just no. That's not the claim.
Then.
That's not the game. That's just me being a bit of a glitch. Meanwhile, there's something tumbling down there. There's about 6 cars side by side. There's another safety car because that's Warrior Huntsman. And now this mid pack has got to squabble it out and decide which position they were all in because they were about 4 abreast. And since that safety car that Solf brought out, we have seen a single full lap of racing, 1 sector on the first lap of it, or the first restart, 2 sectors on this one, and another flurry into the pits. Harry, Cammy in for another set of softs. He is gambling on this rain coming soonish, but it's a bold strategy.
Yeah, we said this in Belgium, and look what happened. Just nothing's making sense, and I said that again last week, and I'm going to say it all again. My brain isn't braining. I mean, you say he's waiting for the rain, but I mean, every driver just going into sector 3, and you can see it on the right of the drivers now ahead. It's a blue sky, so to me that just means it's gonna, stay dry, and it's gonna rain at the very end. So I think going to softs at this point in the race isn't good. I mean, the drivers have got a lot more, they can see and hear a lot more than we can. Obviously they've got their engineers and the pre-race strategy, but to me, I don't know to you, but this looks like it's going to be a dry race in a few areas, but then it also looks like it's going to absolutely hammer it down in sector 2.
Yeah, I get the same kind of inclination. I think, in all honesty, it's going to go greasy at the end. That way where it's about to rain, but I don't think it's going to come to much. I think Cammy as well, he's made a bit of a mistake there on that point. I mean, nobody likes to talk down the drivers, but I think constructive criticism is a valid point. We've already mentioned it. We did 1 sector under the first restart. We did 2 sectors under the second restart. So realistically, those softs have only done 1 full lap of racing. Yes, they might be 6 laps old, but you can pull off a soft medium here as well. Remember. So you could do about 15-ish full racing laps on the soft, maybe even slightly more if you needed to. So I don't think the wear would have been, it wouldn't have been building up enough for me to gamble and say it's not worth being on these tyres for a few more laps. Yes, he's going to get a bit more bite because obviously you do use a couple of percentage here and there going around under the safety car, no matter how cautiously and how canny you drive the car. But he has lost what is effective. He would have been P3. And he's now in P12. He's lost the effectiveness of 9 positions. And we've already seen on these restarts here, Harry, a Warrior Huntsman have a spin and cause another safety car, and Pancake totally DNF'd from the race. We're on 3 safety cars. Yes, there could be 2 more. So if it does go awry, you'd like to hope for his sake that maybe 1 would come out. It's a big gamble though. We'll see how it plays off. Cavalis did something similar under the previous safety car. He's back up into P9 in a bit more of a favourable position. Curly in P4. He has got the outscore MKB by quite a few points, of course. Currently finds himself 51 behind. Needs to outscore him by at least 20. So it is going to take a little bit of a doing. But safety car going to be back in. We're going to get racing once again, Harry, on the start of lap 16. And it's my little job here in Tier 4, I believe, when I commentate here, and I normally have a newer commentator. I like to try and teach you, I like to try and gain your confidence. Take us through the restart, my friend. It's time to pass the baton on.
Well, I don't know what to say, if I'm honest. I don't do this one often. I don't commentate often. So, we'll see how it goes. Wee Rabbit, I think he's caught MKP again napping, which he has. I think that's the third time now.
It is that, yep.
To catch the driver behind napping. As it's people going side by side already. It's nearly 3 wide in the middle of the field, and at the back of the field it's even crazier. We've got a Ferrari and a Haas and a Williams of AFL all squabbling together. But back at the front, I think the gaps starting to form again. I know we're only a sector in, but the gaps are staying where they were, if anything extending between Wee Rabbit and MKP. So it's been quite a clean restart from what I've seen in turn 1. No DNFs or spins at turn 1 yet, or as of yet. So yeah, I think it's just now keeping it clean. The only other place there's been an incident was turn 11, but hopefully it's the drivers take it better this time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. A bit of a safer restart definitely than the first one. The second one, like you say, made it to turn 11, but the drivers are just coming up. The lead pack at least is just coming up on that. I was riding board on Cammy there for a little spot of that. He's made up on Ghost Angel and Spider, I believe it was, and is now trying to hunt back into that DRS train and make his way back through the pack. Victor Mean 1.2 seconds adrift from Tomo Tip Top, so a little break in the chain happening already at this stage, but of course it's going to be another couple of laps before that DRS kicks in, so a chance to regain. Tomo Tip Top getting pushed all the way to the right by Curly. Harvey has retired on the final corner, and it is another full course safety car. Ghost Angel 1.5 second severe collision with AFL, and we are now down to 15 drivers. Warrior Huntsman and Ghost Angel 1 into the pits. I'm assuming a bit of contact involved, maybe with the Harvey incident, maybe something with AFL. Cavalis and Wuban having a bit of a swap, just realigning ourselves into position, and it is safety car number 4. We have had 2 laps of green flag racing since the first safety car came out. That is combined total, not just 2 individual laps. That's a combined total over 3 runs, and we're going to get the 4th restart. Now the big question is Wee Rabbit going to catch MKP napping, and is anybody else going to pull the trigger on the pit stop roulette? Warrior Huntsman and Ghost Angel 1 previously mentioned onto fresh mediums. The rest of the pack, we'll see if they stay out, Harry. And, well, the good news is we can only get 1 more safety car after this, my friend.
We've spent half a race, well, after the next lap, we've spent half a race under yellow flags. Which, I think if we were to be going full speed, I think the race would be nearly finished by now. So, it's an interesting one. I think the max, how many safety cars can you have max? I think it's 5.
I believe it is 5 and a 50%. 100% we did have up to 7 or 8 on one event. Big call though from the Mercedes garage. MKP into the MK pits. I love making them jokes. The Mercedes boys getting those yellow stripe mediums on to the Black Arrow, and he's going to come right down in the pack, looking to be behind Duncan in P13. And as it stands, if the race finished as it was, MKP would not score any points in 13th, and the championship would probably go to a 4-way decider in the desert in Bahrain. Now, I'm a head admin, I'm a commentator, I'm all for the benefit of the league, and I love all these drivers equally. But MKP, please let this happen. Let's have a 4-way duel in the desert, my friend. As much as for your sake, I'd love for you to finish it tonight. I think we all want to see this go all the way here, Harry, and as things stand, it could do that. Crucially, though, all 4 title contenders in the race still. There's a commentator's curse if I've ever put one out there, and we'll see for the 4th restart. MKP, the only one into the MK pits. Oh, I love saying that. And we'll see if Tomo Tip Top can go to the Tomo Tip Top of the podium. He is currently in P3 behind the 2 McLarens, making a sort of an Australian sandwich, you could call it. The filling not quite on the top. It's a bit upside down, topsy-turvy. Curly NP4, Cavalis NP7. He's got Topher, who's been all up and down this field in the Alpine. Victor Mean hasn't been doing any more overtakes on the track, but he did do one in the pit lane earlier on. A mighty move that I want to see definitely at some point. Wuban back into P8 after what has been a bit of a dramatic race for him. Cammy on those freshest softs on P9. Maybe a good choice now to go for those fresh softs, because the pack's going to reform. He's made a few positions, he can settle back in, save the tyre life, and maybe this rain will come a bit sooner, if it is going to come at all. Spider and AFL, bear in mind Spider was about half a lap down by lap 1, even more by lap 2 once he made the pit stop. He's up into P10, AFL and P11 Duncan in P12 despite having the connection issues in quality, and then the pitters of MKP, Warrior Huntsman and Ghost Angel 1 trying to beat the record. Some of these drivers, I think, with the amount of pit stops just with the safety cars that Tobes set in Singapore all the way back in Season 8. Can anybody beat 8 pit stops? That is what I want to see. It might even have been 9.
How? I thought the max tyres you have is like 7, isn't it? To pit 9 times.
Yes, but you can reuse tyres and you can put on inters and wets in a variable condition in Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Harry? There's many ways to make 9 pit stops, and I believe that is the record in CRL. But with the way the safety cars are going and the way that people are changing their strategy with this rain that is meant to be coming, we'll see if it happens. I'm just looking, there's a bit of drama going on in Tier 3. That race is finished, so if you've joined us from there, thank you very much. I think there's been a bit of drama with penalties and race directors, and well, this is more a personal. This is a personal note, Harry, from me, and a good friend of ours, Callum, Mr. Clurpr, got a podium. Sorry to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil you how he got the podium or where he finished on the podium, but he got a podium. So definitely go and watch that race back once you've watched this one. You join us though for what is going to be the 4th safety car restart of the night in 19 laps. We're going to green flag racing on that lap 20. That will give us 17 total laps of racing. 1 safety car still in the tank if we need it. Is wee Rabbi going to find his teammates sleeping as much as he did MKP? Well, Murphy's old, but he's not taking too much of a nap. But he's got toe tip top on 11 lap old sauce. Bear in mind, they've only done about 2 laps of racing, of course, since they were put on. They will have a bit of wear every lap. The rest of the pack going through one by one through turn at number 1. And I think, Harry, it's another safe restart for now.
We said this last time, and it got to sector 3, and we had another restart. So I think there's only 1 safety car left in the race that can be effectively used. But as a McLaren driver in Tier 2, they've played the cards right. P1, P2. Murphy got caught sleeping a little bit on the restart, but not too much. Soft as well. 12 up on soft, so they're going to start to die somewhat soon. So yeah, I think Rabbi and Murphy have played this right, and it hopefully, in my wildest dreams, it's going to be a McLaren 1-2.
It could well be on. The only thing that could go against them is the likes of maybe Cavalis, maybe MKP, Warrior Huntsman, Ghost Angel 1. Those guys behind on slightly newer mediums. Of course, I've said it for a few of them, they haven't done much racing life in them, but by the end, even just doing another 15 or so laps, they're going to wear that little bit. And those 2, 3, 4 laps, maybe a difference that's maybe added up, say racing laps with the wear that's one, the few laps just going slow under safety car, that could be the difference. But of course, those guys at the back, they've got to clear their way through the field. Cammy has started his charge back through the field once again by getting the move done on Weban up into P8, hunting down Cavalis then, another championship rival and another overtake he'll be looking to do. But Cavalis trying to make money moves of his own. He's on, you already know who it is, it's Topher, baby, in the Alpine, leaving a bit of space on the entrance to turn 8. That's going to be lots of space on turn 9. Going for the switchback is though Topher, and that'll turn to the outside of number 10. Can't quite get the move done though Topher, and he's going to have the settling behind that Red Bull, but maybe letting that softer compound pull him along. Yellow flags at the back. Ghost Angel 1's had a bit of a spin. Nothing too detrimental, nothing to bring out a safety car. Wee Cammy getting very, very close to the rear of the Alpine, however. And heart in mouth for a second. Wee Rabbi losing out to his teammate. I think he's had a bit of a spin on the banker here, Harry, because he's dropped behind Murphy, and he's now under threat from Tomo. Tip top down into turn 1. Tomo going a bit of a lunge, a bit of a bold attempt, and makes it stick. Gets the move into turn 1. I'm going to have to take a quick drink because I'm sounded like everybody's favourite granny right now, the way my throat is going.
Interesting analogy would be, I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah, so far it's been quite clean. The incident between, I think, between Rob and Ghost, just slight tap. Ghost Angel 1 has got slight damage, and he's going off again at turn 4, I believe. No. Yes. So I had to count the corners then. But yeah, Wee Rabby going for that little tap. Oh, well, that's not tap. Sorry, little spin at the bank and coming onto the final straight, losing out to Tomo Tip Top, who's now also put Curly's got the DRS to Rabby, and I think he's going for another spin. I thought he nearly spun it again there. I thought he was going to collect Curly. So yeah, Wee Rabby's not having the greatest restart, but he's doing what he can, and P3 is certainly a place to be happy with.
Definitely running it in a very, very strong position. Sometimes under the safety car restarts, when you get a few of them in a row, as AFL has retired on the final corner. Let's make it 5, baby. Here we go. Just as I was about to say, you get too many restarts, one after another, and it can disrupt the flow and just maybe not lose concentration as such, but you just lose that rhythm, you lose that rhyme. You don't get up because it's not bobsleigh time. It is sitting behind the safety car time, and it can have that little detrimental effect to the drivers. Lap 23 though, it's going to be 24 that collects them, and maybe 25, maybe 26 before we get racing. It's looking dry here, and it's bluer skies. I'd be surprised if we don't see a mad dash into the pits for a flurry of softs for those that have them here, Harry. The key word being those that have them. Who still has them? Because we've seen plenty of them in the race already.
I'll be honest, I think, like you said, the top 9 should pit for softs. That goes mainly for me towards the 2 McLaren drivers. Anyway, hopefully they pit for softs, and I hope they're listening to the stream, because softs will be the way to go. But I think anyone in the top 9, apart from Cammy, and this does not include Cammy because I know he's probably listening. This does not include you. Do not pit. You've pit enough times. I think your mechanics are quite tired now. As Murphy is the only driver to stay out, and he's one of the McLaren drivers. Which, fair enough. We never know. It could be the way to go. There can't be another safety car, can there?
Now,
I'm checking.
I don't like to say never, because we've had this in the realistic league at Baku where we thought the number is 5, and it turned out the number was 8 on that occasion. That was a first for us. It normally is 5, but it's Codemasters, let's be real. Anything, they can do anything they want. And they do anything they want. So we'll wait and see. Tomo Tip Top then into the pits for a fresh set of softs in a very good position now in P3. Going to have those older hards in front of him. Pace advantage is going to be his for the first few laps. And maybe towards the end, if Murphy and Wuban can stick it out, it might end up working out. Wee Rabby in a very similar position. Victor Mean in P5, he does have a penalty. We'll get that for you. It's a 5 seconds. So probably not worth pitting to get rid of. Cammy and Ghost Angel 1, the 2 outliers on 7 lap old mediums now. I'm not too sure on the true age of them. Is that 7 true laps? Is that 7 laps behind the safety car? Who knows? Because I certainly don't. Cavolis in P8 and Curly in P9, both on the fresh softs. MKP in 11 on fresh softs, should be trying to cut through the field, but he's got Topher in that little championship sandwich. P10 on the mediums. Safety car in this lap, that feels like a very short safety car period, and I was in the middle of doing a little spreadsheet to try and work out if this championship's going to be done at the end, so we'll hopefully have an idea, but that'll have to wait. You'll have to wait until the end of the race till I get my abacus out, and it is going to be Murphy doing this restart, slowing the grid right up, bunching them right up, and the old McLaren driver, he must hate that I keep calling him old, the experienced, the vintage McLaren driver then going to restart us, taking a very different approach to his teammate, lining them all up, bunching them all up and going a bit late, grouping them up, trying to cause a bit of chaos here. Wuban hasn't managed to get a jump on him, but neither has any of the cars behind. Tomo Tip Top looking very racy over the rear of Wuban, going to go side by side through turn 2. This is going to be a bit precarious for both of them. Wuban, it does get tangled up with wee Rabby into the wall, and I think that was just 2 cars trying to go for the same space. Who's in the wall, sorry? Curly.
Curly.
That is disastrous.
That's a reset to track. I'm sorry, Wuban. I've just noticed that. Sorry. I thought you were going to mention Wuban, but unfortunately you didn't.
No, it is against the rules, of course. So, doing your newly stewarding duties, it must be said. So, Yeah, a reset to track. Cammy, speaking of resetting, he's resetting his run at the title. Maybe not so much because MKP has came up to P6 through all that drama and chaos. Is maybe still within a chance, of course. He is only 35 points adrift of MKP. He only needs to outscore him by, realistically, I believe 5 points, 4 points to maybe have a shot, an outside shot. Really, realistically, needs to be 5 points, although he is losing back out to wee Cammy, who I'm surprised didn't have a bit of damage. Toma Tip Top and Murphy, because my intervals have all messed up there, I didn't even see that coming. Toma Tip Top into the Toma Tip Top of this race. That doesn't really work the same as Toma Tip Top of the standings, does it? And Ghost Angel 1 has had a retirement halfway down the straight, I've just noticed. Answers on a postcard with that one. We'll see how that maybe happened. Cavolis all over the rear of Cammy. It's all kicking off here, Harry. Take it away, my friend.
I mean, under the safety car, I did a bit of research, as Victor Mean goes a bit wide. I did some research on the max safety cars, which I was going to say first, Reddit is not the place to look. I got told there isn't. Then I scrolled further and I got told 8. So, we don't know. And then obviously no safety car for any of the crashes on lap 1, because I know there was 3 in total. You had Curly, Wibben and Ghost Angel 1's retirement on track, which I probably shouldn't be saying out loud, and I do apologise. But there was a crash beforehand, so I would have assumed that there would have been some sort of safety car for any of them. So I think we've hit the limit. So this is now what it's going to be, and at this rate, Tomo Tip Top absolutely flying on those softs. And they're brand new as well, so can he win this race? I think he can.
He's in prime position, but let's just very quickly, Harry, the battle for P4. Cavolis, Cammy and MKP. Currently, it's unfortunate to say, but I think unless a bit of a miracle, he's out of this championship fight, being just, I believe, what's the gap, 51 points behind. He needs to outscore by at least 20 here, ideally 21 really, to have a realistic chance with countback. So it's unlikely unless MKP has a big collision DNFs and Curly can somehow rocket up into the top 3. Cavolis needs that podium and a DNF from MKP, who's just overtaken Cammy, who needs to outscore MKP by 5 points. So as things stand on the countback, it would be MKP taking the title, but with just under, it'll be 9 laps at the end of this one. In this race, anything can still happen, but I think the surefire bet is that Tom with Tip Top is going to get the win. Wee Rabbi overtakes his teammate Murphy. He's maybe kicking himself not going onto some fresh sauce, but maybe, of course, didn't have any in the tank. But with qualifying being a purely wet, you'd like to think he doesn't know. For a split second there, I thought the McLarens were going to touch tips front to back and make a little bit of contact, but just avoiding each other. Now Murphy will be turning his attention slowly towards the cars approaching behind, because he's got 3 pacey drivers on softer and newer tyres approaching very quick. And once that DRS kicks in, I believe next lap, Harry, in the words of Co-Paradox, he's a sitting duck.
Yeah, I don't think that was more of an overtake. I think I was just a driver swap. That's not the word. I've been playing too much endurance. Too much of I've completely lost my words now. You've distracted me with the sitting ducks on. This has happened too many times. They've done I'm calling it a driver swap. The 2 McLarens, I think they did a bit of a driver swap. Wee Rabbit on compared to Murphy, the fresh softs. Murphy obviously not going to be happy that he didn't pit, but he's getting dragged along some way by his teammate, as that is no longer a thing. Wee Rabbi, Cavolis, sorry, going for the overtake on Murphy, going a bit deep into turn 1, not what he wanted, but this is unfortunately what happens when you don't pit for fresh tyres. MKP though, in P5, I was going to make an MKP joke, but I've learned. MKP in P5, he's doing good work, but I'll tell you now, we Cammy and MKP fighting at about this point on the track last lap. Very good defending side by side through this sector, I think, and we Cammy just placing his car perfectly. But unfortunately, MKP managed to squeeze past just into turn 10, I believe.
just making the move. Cammy just struggling on those older mediums compared to the fresh softs, and you can almost feel his chances of slipping away here as this race goes on. It is one of the cruel aspects of racing. You can do so much and put yourself in the best position, and sometimes it just doesn't come off. MKP on a charge onto the MK podium with that P3 move. But the pace of MKP, you've got the feel he might not be able to finish this off with a win here and secure that championship. He's going to be doing everything he can to hunt down Cavolis and finish as high up as he can. Duncan into the pits, 5 seconds while he's speeding into the pits. Please don't retire, Duncan. There's only 6 laps to go, and with only 13 drivers, you could still be within a shot of getting a point or two. I encourage you to stay out if you are listening. NKP 1.8 seconds adrift from Cavolis. Wee Ravi hanging in there, however, and Murphy doing his best to ride on the coattails. I think you might have jinxed that McLaren at 1-2 there with that late safety car, but a McLaren 4-5, it's still a very solid result, and there's still 6 laps to go at the end of this one, Harry. Anything can happen. We'll see how it plays out. Murphy, they'll get a very good launch off of turn 10 and looking to go side by side. Gets the move done on Rabi. Has Rabi let him back through? I wonder if that's a case of maybe Rabi with the softer tyres getting the team orders to go ahead, and if he can do something with it, batter on, maybe not having the pace on these softs that he'd hoped for, and hoping to just sit behind and let Murphy regain that P4 position. Or maybe it's just some strategic play with the DRS. Who knows? Not me. We'll find out shortly, I'm sure. Topher on the outside, I was going to say on the back, he's on the outside of Cammy there. The space not quite materialising. Nothing really to say against. Nothing that will be investigated, I would say. But just a bit of rough and tough, elbows out. How do you like them apples kind of racing? And Topher has to settle in behind. He does have a bit fresher old mediums here. And we've got to that stage of the Grand Prix here, Harry, where there's not a lot going on. Victor making a move on Duncan. That's what's going on. And making it clean, making it done. But the grid starting to spread out about here, mate, for what will soon be approaching the penultimate checkered flag of the season. You've been in and out of the comms booth over the course of the season. I must admit, it's been a pretty good one. There's been a lot of improvement, and we've seen that here tonight. Of course, the safety cars do creep in, but overall, a great season. And I'm hoping you'll be back with me next week. Not jumping the gun, of course, here. I like this race is over, but the action dulling down, and I'm just trying to think of something to distract me while I try and do some maths.
That can distract you. Victor Mean, I think he was sideways in turn 11. Not turn 11, sorry, turn 9. Yes. Yeah, sideways in turn 9. I don't think that's where he wanted to be, I'll be honest. But I think he's got slight damage as well, so this could mean Wooben can snatch that point away on the final few laps as Victor Mean goes for a little drive in the gravel as well. But MKP on the back of Cavolis, 2 tenths behind, and I think he might get P2. P1, I'm not going to put it past him, I'll be honest. MKP, he's a great driver, and I think, well, obviously there is some ways he's not going to get it, but I think he could potentially get the win tonight, depending on if Tomo Tip Top can keep it tip top condition. That's a really bad one.
No, that was actually probably the best one I've had tonight. It's been better than all of mine. He's got to keep it in Tomo tip-top condition. I do like it. 3.6 is the gap from Cavolis to Tomo tip-top. And, it will be 4 laps, starting with this one left for MKP to try and hunt him down. He is currently hunting down Cavolis. A little wiggle to the inside, seeing if the move's going to materialise. And the Mercedes driver not quite able to make it stick, even with the assistance of DRS. It does make you wonder, though, if he can get ahead of Cavolis. Can he pull it down? It is going to be roughly about a second a lap, and that's just to make the overtake work. That would finish him ahead by 4 tenths. But that time slowly draining away from him. And Tomo Tip-Top, I was going to see if he had any battery left in the tank to maybe try and defend it with. He has got a little bit, not too much. Yellow flags in Sector 2. Victor Mean is out of this race, and that means that all drivers, as long as they make it to the end, will score points, or of course if they make it 90% of the race, in that instance that will be completing, I believe, 33 laps. So I believe if they complete this lap, they will score points. Contact between Cavolis and MKP. MKP trying to go round the outside of 11. Didn't quite materialise that turn to the 12, but Cavolis staying ahead at all times. And that has just made that 3.6 second gap 4.7 seconds. And with 3 laps to go, including this one, they're about to start. It's Tomo Tip Top's race to lose here. MKP moving up into MKP2. And see what I did there? You know, MKP02, MKP P2. Yeah, you get the joke there, Harry. It's a good one, wasn't it? It was that bad Harry left me.
I've been on mute. Wow.
Well, check that off your bingo card, folks. Harry disconnection, Harry having his mic on mute, and Harry not having his voice shared. We got the full line. Who's going for the house? We'll try and get that next week in Bahrain, maybe.
I mean, I won't put it past people. If I did commentate next week in Bahrain, someone would probably. I'd expect someone to do a bingo card.
I'm gonna make it.
That I will do. Really?
I'm gonna do it. Okay. I'll do it. I'll have it ready, and I'll have it. If you're tuning in next week, folks, we're gonna have a bingo card ready for you, and I want you to check it off. We're not gonna share it with Harry. I'm gonna find a way so that I might make a channel in the Discord that everybody can access bar Harry, and we'll call it the Tier 4 Finale Harry Palmer bingo card.
Please don't.
I might find a way to do that.
You will as well.
I will. I'll put my mind to it and make it happen. Yellow flags at the back. Duncan is having a bit of a spin, but he's still in this race and still on course to score points. Penultimate lap then. Harry Cavolis has dropped out of 1 second from MKP. Wee Rabi is battling out with Warrior Huntsman. His pace has really dropped off here on those soft towards at the end, losing 3.7 seconds to his teammate in front. In fact, even more when you add the gap that he's got to Warrior Huntsman. That's a gap from Huntsman to Murphy. Murphy will be quite happy with P4. Those mediums, those hards, maybe starting to become the better tyre. 27 laps old, of course. And Rob, just what I like to see. He's coming out of the pits at the end of this lap. He's going to give the final lap of this race a run for the fastest lap of it. He will need to clear Duncan first, however. He will get him on penalties, but you never want a car right in front of you unless you're just on that peripheral and can use a bit of that DRS at some point to try and boost himself along. We'll wait and see how that plays out. That's what Rabi's trying to use to hang on the coattails of Huntsman, because you never know. Anything can happen. I feel like I've said that 60 million times tonight. Cully on the rear of Topher, and he's looking to try and recover the best he can and try and maybe battle out, if not for the championship, for P2-3 or worst case scenario P4 for him. Final lap of the race, Harry, and Tomo Tip Top's gap, it's been saved down by 1.7 seconds over the last few laps. A couple more laps and we could have seen MKP rinsing into it, and I think nonetheless MKP will be happy with P2 tonight, eh?
Yeah, I don't see why he shouldn't be. Obviously, the drivers that he's fighting in the championship, apart from Cavolis, quite far down the order. I know Cammy's only 7th, but 5 positions behind, that's quite a handful of points to lose out on. Interestingly though, and I'm not too sure why, I'm still trying to figure that one out myself, Spider pit. He didn't pit for wing damage, just pit last lap.
It's almost as if you weren't listening to me.
It's not. It is, yes.
It is. Now, why would somebody pit at the end of the third to last lap to have a run at the final lap and maybe do a fastest lap? I think that's what he's tried to go, and he's just mixed it up a little bit wrong. Never mind that. Tomo Tip Top crosses the line to win the Grand Prix. MKP though crosses the line. That will put him on 205 points. It will put him clear of all his championship rivals, provisionally of course, and it will put him as your season 10 Tier 4 champion. Cavolis rounds off the podium. Murphy in P4, Warrior Huntsman in 5, Rabi in 6. Cammy unfortunately could not pass him by 5 points tonight, finishes down in P7. Topher in P8, Curly in P9, Rob in P10. I don't know if he's I don't think he's going to get a chance at this fastest lap. I think he's mucked up his timings with his laps and done it 1 lap too late. We'll wait and see. You never know. What's the lap going to be? It's going to be a 1. It's a personal best for him, so he's obviously not mucked it up. I've mucked it up in my head. Duncan crosses with a 5-second penalty to finish P11 and Wiban in P12. But I believe winning the title by a margin of by a margin of at least 49 points going into the final race. 31, of course, available. It is going to be MKP, your provisional season champion. Cavola's gonna maybe jump Curly. No, not quite jump Curly. I think the rest of the pack will stay sort of as they were. Curly ended up in P9. That's worth a nice, lovely 6 points. Cami picking up 10 points. Cavolis picking up 20 points, but crucially, none of them picking up more than MKP, who picks up the 24. That puts him on 205. Cami on 156.49 adrift. Curly does drop behind Cavolis onto 136 to his 146. Crucially, 10 points separating Cami from Cavolis and 10 points separating Cavolis from Curly. So those three go into a mighty fine dogfight, 49, 59, 69 points adrift, respectively, from MKP. But he is your provisional champion. There are the final standards for this Dutch Grand Prix, Harry. Tom Tip Top from MKP, from Cavolis, from Murphy, from Huntsman, Rabi, Cami, Topher, Curly, Spider, Wiban, Duncan, the last of the finishers. And I believe we do have some joining for an interview. I don't think Cavolis normally joins, and I don't think Tom Tip Top normally joins. But MKP has joined. And if you are there, my friend, it is my pleasure as just sort of stand-in commentator for Tier 4. I was doing Tier 3, back here in Tier 4. But more importantly, as your head admin and as a fellow driver, to congratulate you on the provisional Tier 4 Season 10 Championship. How are you feeling with that sounding, mate?
Thanks very much. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, loved it. Loved it. Apart from all the safety cars, I loved it.
It was a little bit of a start race. You've sort of hit the nail on the head there, those safety cars. We're not going to waste our time running through how did you do this strategy call, how did you do that strategy call, because there was so many decisions that went in. One crucial thing, the rain. I believe you were amongst the drivers that were expecting it to come, and it never came. Is that bit of shock for you, and did that have you worrying at some point?
No, I wasn't expecting rain. No, I'd had on the weather it was going to be raining in the first 10 minutes, if anything. But when it wasn't raining at the start, I'd had it dry to the end, so yeah.
Well, the usual race engineer throwing in a spanner, and I suppose with that, of course, it's not all official yet. It will maybe officially be confirmed in the coming days after stewarding and that. I don't think you're involved in anything, so I don't think there's anything to worry. Going into the final race as championship, not just leader, championship winner. Are we going to see the MKP we've seen in the last few weeks absolutely gunning it for pole, gunning it for the race winner? Are you going to relax and let the rest of them duel it out, or are you going to try and maximise the points here? That's what I want to know.
Got to maximise it. Got to. Always. I'd
love to hear that.
I'll be going
no idea. Of course, the constructor's still up for grabs. There's a bit of a battle going on with that. And I just love to hear somebody saying, I'm going to take every race the best that I can. From me, for maybe the second time, and definitely not the final time, congratulations on the provisional title. Congratulations on P2 tonight. Harry, is there anything you would like to add or ask?
Not about this race, but more towards next race. And I'm going to say this in true Scotty Freefall fashion. Now you've won your championship, provisionally. Are we going to see an MKP1 out in the desert in Bahrain?
I did just ask that, Harry. It's
Shut
almost
up.
It sounds like the same question, Harry.
I know. I've done this multiple times in this race.
It's almost as if for the third or fourth time tonight. Maybe you're asking him, if there is a season 11, what would his expectations be?
I don't know.
But he doesn't know either. And I know if there is, and maybe some of the other ones know, but maybe this is what I'm sorry, MKP. You know, your championship winning night, and you have the
My ears are for decoration.
Apologise for the youth of today, do you, Scott?
Exactly. You as another Scotsman, you'll maybe have heard this expression, and I say it to Harry on nearly a weekly scenario. See them things on the side of your head, pal. They're no for decoration. Now there's an expletive in there at some point. They're for actually listening way, and he's failed to do that tonight, and made made himself look like a bit of a mug and spoiled the party here tonight. But if there is another question you have, Harry, or if you don't have anything that you can think of originally, you could just congratulate.
My mind's gone blank. So I don't have anything else to say. So congrats. And I'm going to say nothing else because I'll end up saying exactly what Scott said.
Well, there we go. MKP, if there's anything you would like to say before we round things off as Provisional Championship, the floor is yours, my friend.
No, just feels brilliant. That's my second championship. First one was with a few more assists on, so to have won another one after taking nearly all assists off, feels good. Feels good to be knowing I'm getting a lot quicker at the game. So yeah, loving it.
Absolutely, and I want to echo that. It just does prove some of the drivers saying, I don't want to take the assist, or some drivers not saying or thinking maybe, I don't want to take this assist off, I'm a bit slower. Yes, you'll maybe lose a bit of pace to begin with, but it just goes to prove you will gain it hand over foot. And I think if we'd reevaluated everything and started the season from again, you'd have firmly found yourself in Tier 3. The pace has been unreal. Congratulations once again. Go enjoy a glass of milk or whatever it is you're going to enjoy to celebrate, if you are at all. It's been a well-deserved title, and all that is left from me to say, I suppose, is commiserations to Cammy, to Cavolis, and Curly, of course, going in with a chance tonight. It didn't quite materialise for them, but I'm sure they'll bounce back next week for that battle for P2. The three of them separated by 20 points as things stand provisionally, of course. And thank you for sort of 3/4 joining me tonight. Harry, you had a little bit of issues in qualifying, and your ears didn't work, and your brain didn't work at some points, but I think we'll all agree, I'm slowly moulding into you to the commentator of tomorrow.
We'll find out. We'll find out in the coming seasons if they're a thing.
Oh, you'll just have to stick around and see what the plans are for the future. I can say there is some plans for the future, but I want to spoil them exactly. Nathan likes to do his admin duties on Discord. But we'll round things off with them. Once again, thank you for joining me. Once again, congratulations to MKP, and thank you to all the drivers for making a very interesting race. Once again, Tier 3 seemed to have a very interesting race from what I've seen in the Discord, in the comms chat, and in the drivers' chats. So definitely worth having a watch back. And if you want some more action at the Netherlands, myself and Harry will be on the grid if he is racing. I'm certainly be racing on Thursday for Tier 2, and then Tier 1 in an already, I think, another decided title. Wouter provisionally taking that on Monday, Thursday, sorry. But there'll still be some pretty good action on the Tier 1 grid. Ennis looking to solidify his title claims in Tier 2 ahead of Duwell, and I believe I could be wrong on that. I'm just throwing a name at a wall and hoping it sticks, but certainly more action. And then, of course, the finale next week. I'm going to round it off because I think you can hear my throat is sounding like the floor of an unsavoury house where you might find some illicit substances. Thank you for joining us. Have a very good rest of the evening, and we'll see you later on.